How you doing? My name is Alan Peters of the Peters Design Company. I'm here with an interview for you. Ben Jenkins from Warstick, the Warstick. You can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy this guy's stuff. This is an awesome company founded by a graphic designer, and I know a lot of you guys out there want to get into selling merch, selling products, and branding. This guy he's done it. He's done it right. He knows what he's doing, and I brought him on to inspire you and inspire me, really. So enjoy this part one. Come back tomorrow for part two. Both are about 45 minutes long. How you doing, Ben? My name is Alan Peters of the Peters Design Company, and big Warstick fan. And I'm here with Mr. Warstick himself, the head honcho, the main guy. A background is in design. He knows baseball, and he is the dream come true. He is living the American dream. He started something that he was passionate about and had success with it, and poured himself into it. And I brought him on because I want to inspire all you guys, because he sure as heck inspired me to break off. And when I first met him, I was working at Target. I broke off, started my own thing. I'm on my own, have my own agency now. I'm even making merch now. I'm just riding on the coattails, trying to know what the heck this guy is doing, and he's going to know a lot better than me. So
I remember being impressed with you. I remember that and like, man, this guy's got like a real job.
oh, man. I heard your story. It created.
I only knew you as Target guy for a while, though. I'm not gonna lie. It took me a while to go.
he's that Target guy. No, I've been trying to just. I know this is. I'm interviewing you, but I've been working hard to not fall back on that as like.
Yeah.
My first project on my website is not my target work anymore. It's been 5 years. I really pushed all my work now to be greater and better, even though I don't have the same amount of eyes on everything I'm working on right now. I just don't want to rest on that. I just want to keep pushing forward.
Almost like a 3-year rule, I think. And I'm really bad about updating my One Fast Buffalo design website, but I kind of feel like there's a 3-year. I don't probably like it anyway if it's older than that, but it's like, it's like, what's the newer stuff? Show people you're evolving and getting better, But
I remember them saying at school, they're like, make every project your best project. And I really try and do that. I really try and just push so that like that year, that month, I'm making the best damn work I've ever made in my life. And I'm super proud of it. And it drives me as a designer to have that passion and that
one of the things I like about the design occupation is theoretically you could get better at it till you're very old. You just have to somehow maintain being cool at the same time, because then there's that part of it where, oh, you're good, but you're not cool and young anymore. I'm like, I don't know. It's not like I could whip your ass in about 5 minutes in design contest, but we'll see. I don't know.
Right on. All right, Ben.
I don't even know.
You got a room full of awesome baseball stuff. You got a head full of great stories. Let's start with a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, I'll try to go really quick. My name is Ben. I'm a entrepreneur, I think, at this point. I really love design. I'm a design nerd, so I try to do as much of that as I can, even though I got to run things. I love fly fishing more than anything other than my family. Yes. And I like surfing almost as much. And that's in a nutshell what I spend my time with, those things. I grew up drawing and painting and just making Legos, and like everybody else probably that listens to you and follows you, I was just some kind of art kid who didn't know where that was going. And then, but I also played a ton of sports when I was growing up. So those are two things that I just was not willing not to do. I always wanted to be at home. Pretty much, I wasn't a very social kid. I wanted to be drawing and painting and do all that stuff. And then I would go play sports. And then in college, I was doing the same thing. I was on a college baseball scholarship. And then I was, studying architecture until they told me that, you got to stop doing baseball so you can do architecture. And I was like, nah, I'm going to do that. And then I moved to the art school and I started doing drawing and painting like I'd always done when I was a kid. And I was having fun, but I definitely was like, I don't know where I'm going with this. My painting teacher kind of realized that he kind of said, hey, look, man, I don't mean to discourage you about painting. You're good, but I think you could be a great designer. And I was like, I don't even know what that is, man.
Remember that?
And I said, why? And he's like, you just, what you're into is the arrangement of things and where they are. And you're hyper obsessive about that. And I was like, yeah, I agree. But I like to paint. Because I really did, man. I remember being in painting and just, I loved being in it, man. Like, it's like playing a baseball game. Like, you're in it, you know? Like, you're immersed in that creativity.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Glaring.
I miss that about painting. But anyway, he drugged me into a design class. Very reluctantly, I did not want to do it. But I hit that Command Z and something clicked with my hyper obsessive brain. Was like, oh, that's kind of nice to be able to go back and forth in time and try things, you know? And I think that's where I was like, oh, this could be way more than painting. So I just kind of continued. I agreed to take the design class and be a computer nerd. And then I got into like computer animation and just film and just all kinds of things. And I played minor league baseball for a couple of years. And then I went to grad school up in Chicago at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, worst, longest name ever. Just kind of hung out by myself and tried to figure out what to do, but I studied anything I wanted. And then got out and couldn't get a job because I was just all over the place. So I somehow wrangled, I don't know, one of my dad's friends maybe or something into some freelance something or other, just really bad stuff. But there was something about, I really liked that transaction, man. I like that, like, oh, I kind of did a business thing. I sent someone an invoice and I made a little dough and all that stuff. And so I was kind of hooked. Once I got that first little check, I was like, I can do this. And I like the freedom of it. And even back then, this is a long time ago, I was like, working at home sounds kind of cool to me because I don't like people anyway. I mean, being out and so like, no, I like people, but I don't. I like my solitude. So I thought being a freelancer was the coolest thing in the world, and then I was actually making it was cool. And then I kind of took that up a notch, and my name was just boring. Like Ben Jenkins is the worst creative designer name in the whole planet, and so naming my design firm wasn't really, it was just, I didn't like my name. So I kind of came up with this identity called One Fast Buffalo. And it was interesting because that worked. Like people started treating me more importantly and taking more seriously when I was no more talented than the day before. But I was like, this is cool. And then I spent 10 years being that identity and trying to grow that thing. And just taking whatever work we could get and doing the grind, man. And then I did that for 10 years. And I tell people I don't remember that 10 years because I just worked. And I got to the point where competitively, I probably did it because I was competitive, like an athlete. But 10 years into it, I'd kind of done all the things, right? I was like, well, I'm getting the big clients that you want to get. I'm getting the big name clients, and I've got 15 employees, and I'm making good money, and I'm the boss and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm miserable. I'm miserable. Like something was really missing from me. Like, and I don't mean to say that any of that stuff that I did wasn't worthwhile or important or, because I know all that stuff is hard to do. Like it's hard to get a freelance job. It's hard. It's hard to get a client regardless. So I really appreciate that I did. But for me, just more personally, I didn't really like being the boss of a whole bunch of people for the purpose of being a boss. I like the work, man. Like I like to be in there doing the work.
Yeah.
I kind of started missing freelancing, honestly. So the financial crash of 2008, was it?
Yeah.
Again, I have good fortune in bad times for some reason. Like it kind of made me think, things might get really bad. Maybe I should rethink how I'm doing this. And it made me shrink. Christine, my business partner at OFB, we've been working together 15 years, kind of like the other side of my brain. We decided to really shrink down and just focus on the part of the work that we really cared about, which was absolutely like the identity creation, like branding. Someone coming to us and saying, we've got an idea, we're entrepreneurs, but we don't know what to call it. We don't know what it should look like. We don't know how it should sound. And like, we loved creating that. And we're like, let's not do anything but that. So we had like a great 6-7 year run from there of like living the life, man, which was working back at home. And this is going back a long time ago, working back at home, only working 6 to 7 months out of the year, purposely taking off 4 to 5 months. And I started, I have a little Airstream trailer and started living in that and like really camping with my kids all the time. going and trying these things that I'd always wanted to do, like surfing, fly fishing, and never doing them because I was always so like engrossed in work.
Yeah.
And it changed my life, man. That whole thing changed my mindset about what a meaningful day is. Like that I learned that I love work. I love the creation that I get to do. I love a day where I get up, I walk my dog, I walk 4 or 5 miles, I let myself think. I have my coffee. I work 6, 7, 8 hours. I love that. But what's awesome, but the best day is then I go surf or fly fish 6 or 7 hours after that as the reward. I can't beat that day. So I love work. I love that. I love combining the things that I care about. And so anyway, so the client work. Eventually, I just kind of got to the point where I'm not like you. Like Alan, and I've seen you as the client. You're a great. You're an adult. You're a pro. Like you care about. You can tell that you care about the client intensely. I'm not. And you may be good, you may be really authentically doing that, or you may be faking it to a tremendous level. Like I'm a bad faker because of the Tourette's that's going
Don't tell
on.
them. Don't tell them I'm
Yeah, I
faking
know. Well,
it.
whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters with the client experiences. But with this Tourette, I have a hard time not showing my emotion and you can tell on my face when I'm into it.
Yeah.
When I'm not. And I think I just needed an outlet. I just needed, I was seeing like, I have to admit, it's so long ago that I got inspired by some people, maybe Draplin just doing some little field notes a long time ago, or there were some little agencies trying things, and there was people that starting to poke the box and the boundaries of like, I don't have to only do client work. There's just that little thing. And I was like, oh man, that's what I need. I need a job. I need to create. I want to be more creative than I am with my clients because I feel like it's constricted. Like there's a lot of creativity there. There's also a lot of feedback. There's a lot of safety. There's a lot of, well, that's cool and all, but that's a little too crazy. And it just, to me, it screamed, I'm not being an artist. And I hated those people that told me, you're a graphic artist, you're not a real artist. And I'm like, really? That's not my definition.
Who told you that?
My definition.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I know. It's just that, I think it's that idea of like art to me, and you can define it so many ways. I think it's just, my definition is creating something that didn't exist before, knowing that we all copy God and we're all, I'm seeing a little this and seeing that, but bringing something new into the world is the part that I like. And I felt like I was touching the surface with clients, but not going all the way. Plus I was seeing the entrepreneur part of it. And I'm like, it's not that I was impressed with it. I was unimpressed. I was like, these aren't like rocket scientists running these companies. They're just people and they're working very hard and they believe in something and they want to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I just started dabbling in that a little bit along the lines. And I had a little bit more freedom to do it because I wasn't spending so much time running 15 people, right? I had time. So I tried this baseball bat brand was one of the things I started. I started a co-working place, which I hated because I could never get any work done, ironically. I started giving myself permission to step outside that. And there was really one goal. I was like, I want to do something where I create some type of product where I can sell it online and I can and I don't get any feedback from anyone about what it is, good or bad, none, like zero feedback. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. People will either buy it or they won't. There's something really pure about that. It's a simple gauge. Like I could be happy with it and no one buys it, or or someone could buy it. And it's not that that's the validating part, but it is kind of like, it works in my brain. Like I made something, someone bought it. But unlike, when me and you do logo designs, we get paid really well. My wife thought I was crazy. She's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You sold a baseball bat and you made like how much profit? And I was like, probably like $25, $30 on that one bat. And she's like, but how much do you get paid for that logo design that you finished? I was like, I don't know, like 25 grand. And I was like, but I could sell that bat again and again and again. And then when I'm sleeping, and there was just the dynamic of it was so different. Yeah. And not tied to me convincing the client that this is good. I just wanted to trust my gut and create something. And it was purely meant to be a hobby. And it was a hobby for a long time. And it took me a long time to realize, oh, this kind of work. This is actually this could be a legit sporting goods company in the industry, not like a fun hobby.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me, because of my stupid design background. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It took me a while because like all designers, feels like my role in life is to serve, other people and clients.
Yeah.
So it took me probably until 7, 8 years into it to go, no, it's okay. This is just an evolution of what I've done, and I'm fully into this now.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point, I'm fully into this. And at the same time, I still will take a client job if it comes around and it makes sense for Christine and I to do it. She's VP at Warstick though. And we're doing some cool client jobs. And because it's branding, we do it so fast. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's some nice little side dough. So it's the side hustle. And I think it's more about she and I going, hey, like in the next 20 years, it's not about client work. It's not about it, but it's about making more brands. If we have an idea that we believe in, we know a lot of stuff now. We're pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
So let's continue on that path. So I see OFB as, it's kind of like some kind of weird design-centric think tank for brands that we want to try. But I know what I'm doing now. It's nice being old. This was cool about being old, not cool anymore. I might not be as cool as you, but I sure as hell know what I'm doing now.
All right. So
I don't know if that was
that was perfect.
okay.
My next question, jumping into Warstick now that we've arrived and we're at the Warstick phase, is just a little bit about naming, because I know what you said about specifically about One Fast Buffalo, where you're like, hey, nobody's taking me seriously with Ben Jenkins. And at the moment you change it to One Fast Buffalo, people are like, ooh, what's this? This is interesting.
I didn't even know what the word branding meant back then, probably.
So Warstick. It's a cool name, right? It has a great sound to it. And then the other word is battle that you have. I have to have both gloves on. Anyhow, is battle. Is that kind of like, is it like a rally cry, kind of a call to action, the battle part of it?
I'd say, Warstick's the name. You can infer things out of that name. Yeah. Taglines are good for expanding what that means, and battle's kind of the mentality, the soul, the additional spirit of what Warstick is. It's you could get in. I'm a big fan of the thesaurus, because I don't really spell well, but battle means fight, means get up, means keep going, don't quit. All these things that are very human and universal, and everybody can understand them whether they're a baseball player or not. And I think that's why battle we've sold so many t-shirts with that word, because it means something to people, and things I never expected. Like we get every day someone tweets, I bought a battle shirt for my brother who's going through chemotherapy, and it makes me super sad, but I'm also proud that there's a little pick me up in that. So that's battles. That tagline, really our tagline, our official one is more, it's not the weapon, it's the warrior. I may have some vacuuming going on in my house.
That's okay. I got a kid scootering out front, and I can hear it through my microphone perfectly. It's not the weapon, it's the warrior is our tagline, which I really love because it speaks to who we are. And I love it because we're literally telling you, it's not the product, it's not the physical product that I sell you as a kid that makes you a better hitter. It's you. And I don't think my clients would have let me do that. No. Or like, you're telling them it's not the product, it's the magic. I'm like, no, it's not. And we sell, I could tell a kid, I tell a parent, like, what we're trying to sell to your kid is belief in themselves, because they're probably not going to be a Major League Baseball player, but if they can, that little bit of like, when the kid turns from a defensive hitter into an aggressive attacking hitter, their life, honestly, and the things that they're going to do. And that's why my competitors, who are very not as creative as us, they just struggle with us, because that more complex creative strategy, it doesn't make sense to them to do that, Like, I told people, sorry, I have a bat right here.
So one of the, if I did this for a client, they would have maybe put their name really big here because that's what you do, because that's the branding opportunity. That's the billboard. That's the thing. And I don't know that I remember starting the creative part of Warstick. It'd be cool to go see sketches and stuff, but it was like one of my things, my parameters was I'm not going to put my name on the front of the back. I want to do something that people recognize us by and looks aesthetically cool on the back and enhances the look. But also when I'm sitting in the back and there's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming at me, why do I need to read your name? I needed to think about my name. I needed to think about. So the idea behind this in theory is we tell kids, this is the past, this is the future. And when there's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming at your face, you better be there. Like you better be conscious, awake, aware, ready. Just hitting is so hard to do, like so many things in life. And if you're not ready, you're screwed before it even happens. You can't be thinking about you screwed up yesterday or that you were really good yesterday or really bad. You got to be there. And so that message really resonates, and then you can flip the bat over and see who it is. And so I just thought of it as like, if you designed a really badass modern piece of furniture, like a chair, you're not going to stick your name on the front. You're going to let the chair speak for itself. And then, I'll turn the chair over and I'll be, oh, Alan Peters designed that. That's sick. So I just thought of it more like that. But I think that's exactly what a client would not let me do. I don't think it would have happened, man. So there's a lot of little examples like that. With this brand is we kind of let it fly. I mean, it's like, it is truly an art project to me that we let it rip, man. Like the more creative and more soulful and more connected to some kind of spiritual aspect of it we get, the better. The more we see an idea from a competitor and maybe copy or just get influence, it doesn't work. It's just like, it really is truly us being ourselves and trusting that and what we are. And, branding is just expressing. Branding sucks unless you actually know who you are. If your brand knows who it is and it does a good job of expressing that, so you understand why you should be part of this cult, then you might accomplish something. You might grow.
A brand knowing who it is just like taking that aggressive stance. It's when it goes from here to here and it's ready to go. Same with like your story where you're like, hey, I was running this agency, I was doing these things, I was just taking the client work that was coming to me. But then all of a sudden you're like focusing, you're like, oh, this is what we're going to be. And then you got to the product and you're like, and this is right between those lines, this is now, and put your head down and went hard. That's awesome.
It's the best. I try to tell any client I work with that it's the best gift they can give themselves, to know and decide exactly who they are, because everything else then runs through that filter and it helps you make choices faster. And I get Christine, my business partner, who's really my VP at Warstick. Like she made me, when I got the investment 3 years ago to really do this full time, she went through the whole process we go through with our clients, but turned it around on ourselves. And like, it was super important to go, well, if we're going to market something, we have to know what we're selling. And if we don't know that, it's just all flashy design, and that's not enough. It's not.
Yeah.
It may get people's attention for a second, but they won't stick with it. They won't start cutting this logo, which kids do, into their hair, which is cultish behavior, but it's positive. It's they believe in themselves more because of what they've experienced, and their parents are okay doing these punk rock like haircuts because they're like, my kid's being super positive about himself here, and that's what you're trying to do. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't know what we were about and what the point, so.
Yeah, I've been learning that myself with my shop, where it was more like, hey, pandemic hit, I had some downtime. I want to just start making some merch. And I just jumped in without doing the whole process, doing the proper process that you're talking about. I was just like, well, I could just throw all these shiny objects on there. And then like whatever I felt like every day, I'm interested in this today. I'm going to make this product or that product or the other. And I ended up with like 80 products on my shop that like, there's not a whole lot of consistency to it. There's a lot of cool things on there, but in terms of just like having a consistent focused brand, like my wife called me out on the other day. She's like, Alan, you need to just like sit down and rethink this whole thing from scratch
You need to
and
slow down.
start basic and then really
Well, you're
come
perfect.
up with a
Okay.
strategy.
So you're a perfect case study because I see this a lot, right? And I was also,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, Warstick to me at first was very much a design project. It was all about design and feel and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't think from my strategy brain first. I got lucky that it matched, but it's like, I feel like designers like you who are so talented and can create beautiful things get kind of stuck though in the loop of design, right? Where you can create all kinds of cool things that look badass on a hat or a shirt. But if you can step outside that loop and create another loop around that of meaning,
Yes.
and connect those two things, then what you might accidentally create is a brand.
Yes.
And this is what I see designers, and God bless his soul, Aaron. There's so many people that want to be Aaron Draplin, but Aaron's not doing what he has meaning and soul behind the things he's doing. Right. And you want to be, it's not that you so much love thick lines, I think. I mean, they're cool, but I think you love the spirit of what Aaron is and what he's about and the humanity that he puts out into the world. Yep. So he is a brand. But so many designers, it's just design only without the added message and meaning. But you're all human beings. So you actually, if you would stop for a second, Alan, and quit making 80 logos and maybe find some meaning in your favorite ones, right? You never know what you might. I just think designers are capable of that, but we have a hard time because of the client dynamic, feeling like we can be the boss. Like it's okay for us to show, but for some reason it's not okay for us to talk and have our own ideas and thoughts and lead. And if you really think about it, look at those clients hard. Like, are they really smarter than you? Are they more intelligent? Are they more human than you? Are they more? They're not. Like that's my soapbox. I mean, that's what I didn't know a long time ago. That is more of what I know now. Yeah. But you have this weapon of like badass, create these badass aesthetics, but people need to know what that represents, right? What does that represent? And if you could build meaning behind that, that's what I'm doing. That's it. I just think a lot of designers get stuck in that loop, if that makes sense. And I don't mean it to be, they trust what they do, but it's like, I think it's what the thing that keeps them from being a real, like you could start a real thing, man. It's doing it. I went to art school. I didn't go to business school. I wish I went to business school. It would have been a lot easier. But anyway. Yeah.
I mean, there's, for me, it's been valuable in certain way. It hasn't been like a super profitable, like, hey, I'm starting this giant brand or anything. Like, it's more been like, hey, I've been able to flex my design skills and try a whole bunch of different things. I've been able to use it for self-promotion. That's been really good. You know, just get stuff out there and give me something to talk about, especially during slow times and stuff like that. So there are a lot of valuable things. And then also it's like a giant focus group where I can see what people like and what people don't like because of how they're spending their dollars. So I can see really quickly, statistically, like, you know, where people are at in terms of overall aesthetic. And so that's going to help me when I take a step back here. I'm super busy the last couple of months, but as soon as things slow down a little bit and the water calms, which it usually does, you know, in the spring for me, sometime around like March or April.
If you have a creative inclination of any type, you should think about it, and you should sleep on it, and the next day, make a hard choice about whether to pursue it. But I mean, creative inclinations can lead to amazing things, so you should listen to them for sure. You know, be careful about what you pursue, especially the older you get, because it's time. You know, I have a high value for time. I'm obsessed with time and where it goes. So I don't know, like I also, like some days I wake up and go, you know, why isn't it okay for me to have been satisfied with client work and more focused on growing like my agency? And I can't answer. That's just because I'm different than the next guy, or the next guy that's different. But it's not one's better than the other. It's because I mean I was in a good position to do that, but something was just inside was like, there's something, man, something I'm supposed to do, or I don't know what, and I just got to keep kicking the wheels until I figure it out. But I don't mean to say, you know, choosing to be, it's it's not like everybody's goal needs to be go to design school to become a designer to get paid to stop doing it because you move on to creating your own thing. That's it. That's your goal if that calls to you. Because trust me, you might get it. And dude, it's you talk about work hard. Oh my God. Like I've never worked harder in the last 3-4 years than I did in the last 20.
Yeah.
But I honestly love it. I feel like I get to wake up every day and play this video game called Warstick.
Yeah.
And it's the pieces of all the business. Design being it's so far beyond just the design part. I just think of it as a big video game. I don't even play video games.
Yeah. No, but I know what you mean. It's like you're like it's
Gotta,
like a strategy RPG or something.
It is design. Like that's the thing is I think designers are so much more capable than they think, because what they are good at is making choices, deciding. All design is making one choice connected to the next until it's done. You can see things, you can see ahead, you have intuition naturally. That's why you're good at what you do.
Right.
Why can't you be an entrepreneur? Why couldn't you be whatever you want to call yourself when you're the boss or whatever? But it's just intuition. It's the same skill set. It's just applying it in a different way. And I don't know. I'm happy with it, but would I go back and do all of it again? Hell no, Alan. No, too much work. Nope.
Yeah. I find it fascinating. I love it just because I can look at your brand in a glance and I can say, okay, what's innovative about this? Okay, he took the baseball industry. He took like baseball bats. You know, they're pretty plain to begin with. The all merch baseball stuff kind of has a certain aesthetic to it. All kind of looks a little bland. It has you know what to expect. And you took it, and your innovation was to apply design to it. You took it and you added color to the bats. You added just really well thoughtful design. So that's the innovation. You have a perfectly focused target demographic. You know, a lot of brands don't have that, and yours is. It's not like, oh, I'm just selling this to the youth. You're like, no, people who play baseball. You know, there's definitely an age range. You know that's your target demographic. You know who you're talking to. You know what your look and feel is. You know what your color palette is. Your look has one of the most consistent looks out of any brand I've seen out there. And that's why I really wanted to bring you on and talk to you, is just because nobody's doing it quite like you, Ben. And I think it's really inspirational to me, and to especially like these younger guys and these gals out there that are just, you know, whether they're just out of school or maybe they're working some, like, man, I remember my first couple of jobs where I was just like, I was working on like medical clients and hospice and all sorts of like nothing that you'd get super pumped about, you know. and the whole time you're like, you know, like spend your lunch break searching job boards and stuff like that. Like, oh, I got to get out of this.
Someone told me that, like, there's a thing about like, quit asking for people to pick yourself. This is like a super simple thing. And it's like, I think that's kind of part of it. Is just, it's like, I'll just like, it's like, well, why do I don't need permission to create. It's not like clients own the permission to tell you to create. Why can't you just do it yourself? Well, that's not simple. You got to survive. You got to make a living. You got to decide what kind of living you're trying to make. And then you got to create the time in there to make that living and then create the things that you want. So, I mean, it's that's why I say, I don't know that I could go, knowing what I all went through to do it. I don't know that I could do it. I'm super glad I did. But you made a good point. Like, I don't think the reason that Warstick is all those things that you just said is because I've been able to work on it for so long. It wasn't all put together, like you're saying, day one, day two, year one, even year 4. It's that, imagine you working with a client on branding. You're going to get them this great initial, you're going to help them make it real, give it a voice, give it a name, give it a message, give it a start, help them understand who they are and what they are. But even that, imagine you then stopped working with all other clients, but you worked with that client for 8 years. And you grinded on it, and every year you reevaluated and you added to it and you figured out what was working. Like, you would do something like the branding and identity that we all do as designers is a really crucial thing, and it's important to clients, but it is so we actually really are just scratching the surface. And so with Warstick, what I realized, and I really appreciate now, is that I this has been an ongoing 8-year project that I just keep, and it gets better and easier at the same time. Because it when I design something now, like this is a baseball glove, like this was fun, not hard. It's like I kind of know it. Like it's like wham, like it just,
Yeah.
and it's so cool to see now the iterations of things that we do, because I know it so well. It's just a part of me, and that's what you do unless you work in house, which in hindsight, I super respect. Like you working at Target or like the internal creative team at say at Starbucks or something. Man, I think it's
Yeah.
going that way, man, because of what I just said. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're hiring out, the the opportunity to live and breathe something all the time and then create from there,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty good, man. So
Yeah.
I don't want to, I don't know where things are going, man. I don't pay enough attention to what's really happening in the creative industry to know where
Mm-hmm.
things are going, but in-house can be a super powerful thing, man. And I would tell
Sure.
designers out of college, like, don't shy away from that, man. You might have a really cool experience. Like it sounds like you did.
Yeah,
Like,
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about working with clients,
yeah,
about because at a lot of agencies, it was very much like a client gives some bad feedback, you just suck it up and do it, and just try and make sure you're getting that paycheck. And when you're working in house, you can push back. And clients love that. They want to be encouraged.
yeah.
They want the best product, because if their product doesn't sell, if it's garbage, that's not helping anybody. Woo! Ben Jenkins, man, bringing it hard for round one. Now, part two is going to come up tomorrow. Make sure you come check back in, and it is going to be amazing. Part two is all about show and tell. The next line where I'm like, oh, Ben, and then like right at the end there, it's because I'm going to say, we talked about all this. Now, you know what designers want to see? Pretty pictures, man. That's what we want to see. So that's what you got coming up. So we got new products. We got what their home base is going to look like. They got a batting cage going into their place, man. It's going to be sweet. Bam. The showroom floor. He has a cafe. Freaking, who wouldn't want to design a cafe? Seriously. So check back in tomorrow to get inspired and see all of the amazing things that we just talked about for 45 minutes. Thank you.